First, let's look at this story where the UK Minister for Business and Trade, Kemi Badenoch, arrived in Nigeria for a 3-day visit to strengthen the UK-Nigeria partnership and expand investment opportunities. Badenoch and the Prime Minister's trade envoy, Helen Grant, will meet with the federal government, state governors, British and Nigerian business leaders and investors to explore trade and investment activities, from education to infrastructure and energy projects, with the potential to create thousands of jobs. The primary goal is to remove barriers to trade and investment, grow business, and make the City of London's role in international business more accessible to Nigeria. Well, this is quite noble. Well, we understand the relationship Nigeria has with the UK over the years. Talking about being our colonialist, and down the line, we have been able to maintain a strong tie with the UK, not just in trade, but in other aspects. We see how a number of Nigerians are actually in the UK as we speak, thanks to the Japa syndrome and every other thing. But the UK is looking beyond all of those to see how they can deepen trade relations with Nigeria. And let me just give some statistics that I got this morning, talking about the government of the UK Department for Business and Trade Investment fact sheet. It says latest statistics showed the trade volume for 2023, 4 quarters in 2023, to be about £6.7 billion. That's the much they were able to rake in, and the total UK exports to Nigeria amounted to about £4.0 billion, an increase of 2.7%, and total UK imports from Nigeria amounted to £2.7 billion. Nigeria is said to be UK's 39th largest trading partner in the 4 quarters of 2023. That's quite something.
Absolutely, and it's good to, all right, so as journalists, we've always been talking about Kemi Badenoch, all the exploits that she had been making, especially at the time when there was a fierce tussle to become on who becomes the next Prime Minister of Britain. So it's good that she's here in Nigeria, and she can relate with you know, a diverse range of, you know, stakeholders, especially the federal government, private sector, and other groups of people. I think this is a very strategic meeting, a very strategic visit on her part. She gets to also learn, you know, from home. I understand that, you know, them sending her, of course, in her capacity as trade minister, she also stands, you know, to gain somewhat, you know, from Nigeria, from what must have been her home at a time before she relocated and then became a national of Great Britain. So this is a very welcome development, especially now that the US is also coming on board to enhance ties with Nigeria, and now the UK is also looking in that direction too. But what also comes or hits me as, you know, striking is the fact that they are also concerned. The British government is also concerned about these clogs in investment, yes, and is also desirous that Nigeria also, you know, work in that regard to lift up those clogs and ensure that, you know, there is strategic partnership, there is strategic benefits for their own investors, and of course it's going to be a mutual beneficial partnership for even you know, business owners here in Nigeria. So it looks like a win-win, and we are hoping that, of course, you know, they get to enhance, they get to move on. We are age-long partners, you know. There are deep historic ties between both countries. Absolutely. And so this is just, you know, a very welcome one, and we hope it's a productive.
Of course, as much as the country wants to, you know, the UK wants, you know, those clogs taken out, Nigeria would look at how it benefits them if they are taking that out of the way at the end of the day. Because recall that there was a statement made by the president where he talked about countries exploiting African countries, talking about countries in European countries exploiting African countries. And so they want to see how whatever partnership they are having with African countries is beneficial to not just the European countries, but also the African countries themselves. So if Nigeria will lift those clogs, it will ensure it will be something that would benefit the country. From the statistics I read out, I'm actually looking at the matter of exports out of Nigeria to the UK. If we can increase that, that will be very beneficial to the country and our economy, looking at the situation of things as it is. Nigeria is just amounted 2.7 billion pounds of imports from Nigeria. That's what the UK was able to import, as against what the total number of exports to Nigeria, which amounted to 4.0 billion pounds. So we should be looking at increasing that, how they also can ensure that Nigeria benefits immensely. They can, look at some of the rules and policies they put in place that is not ensuring that Nigeria is able to benefit from this relationship as such, where you're saying certain things must meet certain standards and all of it. Yes, we know that the UK is sovereign and has its rules and regulations, but as much as you want us to remove this clog, what are you bringing to the table for Nigeria as well? Very
Absolutely. This is very important, and it is expected. One would also hope that all the parties concerned, both parties concerned, come together and have open, honest discussions, because this issue of trade imbalances is real. But I want to believe that, the business owners in Nigeria have also advanced. What is just left for us mainly is perhaps government presence or government investment, but in terms of the technical know-how and, all the other in-betweens, our own Nigerian entrepreneurs and business owners have a lot to offer.
Of course, especially with the number of Nigerians, the population of Nigerians in the UK
who are there,
who are ready, they already know how it is in Nigeria and would want to take advantage of, seeing that we import some of our items there that they can't get.
Right, and even though they are already doing that, they are doing that, but when you look
not at a larger scale.
Yes, when you look
so
at
that's the essence now. If we can do that at a larger scale, that will be beneficial to the Nigerian population there. It will also help Nigerian economy as it is.
Absolutely, and of course, when you look at education again, that is also going to be going to form part of the talks going on between Kemi Badenoch and the Nigerian dignitaries that she will be meeting. There is definitely room for improvement. Absolutely. And across all the sectors that the Nigerian British business relations have spanned across all these decades of years.
Absolutely. We'll leave the conversation here now and quickly bring you some news update. Reactions have continued to pour in after the death of Access Bank CEO Herbert Wigwe, his wife, son, and others. In this report, we take a look at the condolence messages from some dignitaries and sympathizers across the country.
President Tinubu has expressed shock and deep distress after receiving news of the passing of Herbert Wigwe and the former group chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Group PLC, Abimbola Ogunbajo. He mourned the Nigerian business leaders and described their passing as an overwhelming tragedy that is shocking beyond comprehension. Governor of Rivers State, Simi Fubara, in his condolence message, described the helicopter crash as unfortunate, and there are no words to convey how terrible these losses are. Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, described him as a visionary leader and one of the brightest minds in Africa, whose impact on the nation and beyond will be remembered forever. He also condoled with the family of Abimbola Ogunbajo over the passing of the former group chairman of Nigerian Exchange Group PLC. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, in a tweet on his X handle, described the incident as unfortunate and extended his sympathy to the Wigwe family. For the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, Herbert Wigwe's death is a profound loss across the nation and prayed for eternal rest for the deceased. Former governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, says Mr. Wigwe's death is a loss not only to his family and friends, but to the financial services sector and the Nigerian economy. Mr. El-Rufai says he was humble, responsive, respectful, and limitlessly generous. Senator representing Abia State, Orji Kalu, expressed shock and sadness as he described Dr. Wigwe as a thoroughbred professional, a complete gentleman, and a patriotic Nigerian. President of the African Development Bank offered his condolences. He prayed for comfort for Dr. Wigwe's aged parents, the entire Wigwe family, and the staff and management of Access Bank. He says the visionary and brilliant banker will be greatly missed.
And may his soul continue to rest in peace. Meanwhile, the National Transportation Safety Board has commenced investigation into the deaths of Herbert Wigwe and others. They confirmed that witness reports suggest it was raining when the crash happened in California near the Nevada border. We have details in this report.
The NTSB in its briefing mentioned that preliminary investigations are still ongoing and officials were at the scene to gather perishable evidence. Official of the Safety Board, Michael Graham, emphasized that they will look into the chopper's airworthiness, maintenance and structure, among other things.
The NTSB is an independent agency charged by Congress to investigate every civil aviation accident and significant accidents in the other transportation modes. We are on scene now to gather perishable evidence. Our team is methodically and systematically reviews all evidence and considers all potential factors to determine the probable cause. This is the beginning of a long process. We will not jump to any conclusions, and the information that I provide for you tonight is preliminary.
Although the NTSB says the victims have not been identified, Access Bank PLC confirmed the death of its Group Chief Executive Officer, Herbert Wigwe, who was on board the aircraft alongside his wife, son, and a former group chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Group PLC, Abimbola Ogubanjo.
Obviously, I'm Nigerian. I'm a chartered accountant by training.
Born on the 15th of August 1966, Herbert Wigwe was a Nigerian banker and entrepreneur. He was the CEO of Access Holdings PLC, traded as Access Corporation until his death. He was the Group Managing Director, CEO of Access Bank PLC, one of Nigeria's top 5 banking institutions. Herbert Wigwe was said to have been traveling in the helicopter with his wife, son, and 3 others when it went down on Friday nights. Dr. Wigwe had written on one of his social media handles how he spent time last week with the Access Pensions family, engaging in meaningful conversations that's shaping the future of Africa. Many have described his death as a loss to the entire nation, as he was a visionary and brilliant banker who will be greatly missed.